So I usually do my homework. I'll find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like who is it? Like who is he? And Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I had all of it.
So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule.
The offspring of 50 Cent. Simply put, French Montana isn't producing it. If a French person's name makes an appearance on the blogs, the man has a troll bound and prepared to shoot. However, this isn't your average argument. The conversation became much longer as a result. French Montana seems to be dodging more than just the company's issues. Perhaps something more dreadful is on the horizon. The glittering cage of Dubai's wealthy, covered in gold. On paper, it looks like the headlines are a massive flex. French Montana is engaged to the Princess of Dubai. It is worth a whopping $18 billion. The uninitiated fan would think that French Montana, a teenage Kubo artist, turned into a world-famous kingpin overnight. That brilliance, however, soon becomes jumbled if you look past that sparkle. It is reported that French had nothing to do with love in his alleged escape plan. It's a survival situation. French desperately needed a fallback plan since Diddler was still dancing about federal smoke, and there were rumors that the police were gathering data on all those involved in the infamous bad boy freak-offs. Additionally, Dubai seemed to be the safest choice. Nevertheless, the worst part is this. Shadows exist even in paradise. People with knowledge of Dubai's internal operations will be honest with you. Indeed, the wealth seems to be endless, as do the towers and the jewel-encrusted cars. Some of those same royals, it has long been said, possessed ravenous appetites that money could not sate. It is insane. This disaster turns Hollywood controversies into reruns on the Disney Channel. Princes are allegedly snatching up attractive guys, and Western celebrities are allegedly being flown out for reasons too dirty to discuss. These rumors did not start out that way. French, who is well known for partying lavishly, chasing bags, and partnering with powerful people to get the next great thing, is suddenly spotted with a $7 billion safety net and a princess. The calculations appear to be a little too precise. No one questions his capacity to love her, though. Survival was the main motivation, according to most people. The most significant influence here is 50 Cent shade. When he says, French got bought, there's more to his remark than that flashy engagement stone. This is related to the idea that the French did not downplay the game. His only action was to switch masters. He fled from Diddler's storm and wound up in a game that seemed too similar. They still cowed out to powerful, wealthy, and unaccountable males, which is ironic. Greetings to everyone. Hi there. Indeed, the French thought that the best place for him to leave would be Dubai. If half of the stories about those princes are true, however, he did not get away with it. Leaving the villain's fire, he walked straight into Dubai's burning stove. Where the twist lies is here. Instead of the feds coming to settlements or moving on, the Dubai monarchy plays for keeps. This makes the alleged $7 billion escape plan appear more like a glittering trap than a means of escape. French could have bought himself a little time, but how much? If you want to understand French's desire to relocate to Dubai, you must first understand how he first became associated with the bad boys. As you can see, French Montana didn't just pop it, seal the deal, and continue. Not at all, sis. At the time of signing, the agreement consistently had unpleasant smell. The amount of nonsense that has been directed at Diddler over the last 2 years has also caused supporters to start questioning the past. People tend to forget about this. French was no mixtape rookie in a desperate attempt to get a chance while he was dealing. There were options for him. The Rock Nation was around them. MG was quite interested, as was Rick Ross. There were also several efforts at flirtation by Kanye's entourage. Out of all the tables, French chooses to sit with Diddler, the label known for questionable contracts, complicated arrangements, and those extra criteria that raise eyebrows. Consequently, why would a rich man choose to play alongside the most controversial player in the game? The agreement was said to have little to do with music because Bad Boy was more than just a company. It was a whole manner of living. And for some artists, the real money came from that lifestyle. Reports state that Diddler did more than just hand French a check. He made the wild freak-offs, the females, the parties, and the play nice and you'll get rewarded situations feasible.
Tell you what I actually learned. A friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen.
Has been ridiculed by admirers ever since. First, he admitted that even though he took less money up front than either Ross or Jay was willing to provide, French still picked Puff. The second was that whenever French people arrived, they would stumble out of those infamous mansions appearing half alive, and the internet would instantly clock it. People started discovering pictures and videos of French people who were, to put it simply, exhausted between 2016 and 2019 because Puff's celebrations of him always fell on those wild weekends. Producers and former co-workers began revealing what was truly needed to secure deals behind those closed doors after Diddler was imprisoned in 2024, which only served to taint the narrative. Diddler blackballed him, one producer said, when he refused to take part in a freak-off. When people think about French's rapid rise, they usually say, "Oh, so you stayed and took the deal. We understand what that means. Is there a smoking gun at the moment? What is the name in French?" No, but the situation is getting out of control. Diddler reportedly spent the whole night with French, and the very next day he offered French his own Kyrock French vanilla taste. The birthday video that went viral is another example. French, shirtless, and Diddler in a robe. Both appeared suspicious, as did French's own admission that he wanted the enormous bag. He was the only man in the group with the courage to give it to Puff. It didn't appear to be your average street-side label signing. He seemed a man willing to put his own money into a venture that would further his career. Some people think that's why he's running the identical play in Dubai. People assume that once you've shown that you'll compromise your honor for a chance, you'll do it again, but with a larger bag and a new master. At this point, the rabbit hole becomes very deep.
There were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down. I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi. And Gabi was the manager. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
Never got it. I dropped.
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but
weird.
Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And
during Paris Fashion Week in mid-2024, French Montana is seen allegedly showing off new outfits and a fiancé. Shara is a princess who has strong ties to one of Dubai's royal families, making her a unique fiancé. Bronx romance isn't like that, baby. It's a very smart chess move. Since the feds were in the process of collecting evidence against Diddler, the freak-off tapes, the trafficking rumors, the money laundering traces, all of them suddenly turned radioactive around Diddler. Producers, assistants, artists, and even casual acquaintances were being questioned or subpoenaed. A Frenchman, he was more than a passing acquaintance. He looked very much like Diddler. Birthday excursions, champagne endorsements, and innumerable cousins. In order to have a strong case, prosecutors had to include French's name. So what will be his next play? He doesn't just go away. His family is among the wealthiest in the Middle East. The estimated net worth of the Sheikh's family is $18 billion. For generations, that has been the money from oil. That is a small sum of money in comparison to $7 billion. In addition, there are other factors besides money to take into account. That's defense. Such power passports are a recent development. It's residing in an area where people from other areas are not allowed to meddle in their issues. Rumors that French is more concerned with survival than love are common in the streets. The speed at which that engagement occurred, how well it suited the American heat. And the fact that French people have been stuck in Dubai significantly more frequently than in New York or Los Angeles are all highlighted. It seems to admirers like a lovely fairy tale gone bad. However, it screams an escape strategy cloaked in Cartier and wedding vows to critics. Keep the aesthetics in mind as well. Posting a photo of himself with his princess makes French look crisper, cleaner, and almost reborn. But the remarks are still arbitrary. For Dubai or worse, you traded diddler, buddy. I hope you don't get the same treatment from those sheikhs as Puff God because of this gag. According to the French, he gained notoriety by fleeing to Dubai. The real power dynamics of Middle Eastern nobles, however, make it clear that you can't always get away from a fire. You just step into one that's bigger and sexier. This section is unlikely to be of any interest to French. Being free does not always entail escaping to the United Arab Emirates from Uncle Sam. It just means that you signed a different kind of contract sometimes. You picture skyscrapers, Lamborghini bosses, and pet tigers lounging on yachts when you think of Dubai. That being said, the whispers behind the curtain have been ugly for centuries. Following the tax-free glitz, influencers attend royal gatherings where guests are behaved more like props than actual people. Evidently, both men and women, since some royals do not believe that foreigners are equal. They view them as playthings. And this is the truth. When you have billions and you're broke, you don't make the rules. Yes, they do. Now contrast the $18 billion fortune of French Montana with that of Shikamar's family. There's no money in that room. He's ornamental. To exacerbate the situation, he has little political clout. The daughter of one of the most powerful autocrats in modern times, on the other hand, is Shikimara. Even while French is well known enough to add glamour, he lacks the strength to defend himself if they determine he's merely an ornament. People on the internet immediately observe that the move doesn't seem like a way out of D at all. They seem to be upgrading new handlers. The only distinction is that the opulent residences in Dubai have replaced the freak-offs in Miami. A global inquiry is already underway on the French family he recently joined. Do you remember the comprehensive Instagram posts on Shikimar's divorce in 2024? Everyone was shocked when she stopped her connection with him. 3 words regarding her husband. You will be divorced by me. Disobedience in public was almost unheard of in royal circles. Although it's admirable, it also highlights the chaos that can accompany living like a king. Her family, including Princess Latifa's failed escape attempt, only serves to highlight the shortcomings in that fairy tale picture. Their own father, the absolute ruler of Dubai and French's new father-in-law, allegedly organized the kidnapping of Princess Hessa, which instantly destroyed the fairy tale. Because having that much power at your disposal does not guarantee freedom. It is no longer there. This is why it suddenly makes perfect sense for this Frenchman's $7 billion escape plan to be mentioned online. Get residency, marry into ridiculous riches, and in the event that you are ever targeted by the federal authorities, hide behind a royal shield. It's a fantastic idea. On a social level, however, it is similar to déjà vu. For years, people have mocked French as a toy for boys. Along with the birthday serenades, shirtless lunches, and Sayak incentives, there are more allegations than ever that he recently exchanged one sugar daddy for an entire dynasty of them. Habibus, I'm stung by the irony. Hip-hop positioned as French as the scrappy underdog, Bronx hustle, Moroccan grit, and Coke boys pride. Nevertheless, the Dubai royal family doesn't perform as well as Bad Boy Records. No one is superior to you. You don't give them a bad image. Furthermore, your usefulness never diminishes. According to even a fraction of those stories, French did not stray from a velvet leash. All he did was lock himself in a gold cage. He might be sitting on the stove in Dubai, despite the fact that he might have escaped trouble in the US. This is the joke. The person who has introduced French into this mess the loudest is 50 Cent. However, consider that for a while. 50 isn't a joke, is it? Could it be that he's actually trying to warn him? People in their 40s have that big brother vibe, you know. This kind of person grills you hard while wanting to watch you eat. For years, 50 has denigrated French, calling him washed and a D leftover. But he might be aware of the trap. The French are falling into a trap that smells just like the velvet cages that people in Dubai talk about. but it doesn't look like chains. Flip it for a moment though. How would things turn out if this isn't even a French trap? We say things like, "Damn bro, out here, you gave up your spirit to be protected." Maybe though, this is exactly what he wanted. A few people, while some yearn for independence, others prefer comfort. In addition, a Frenchman might not even think of himself as a prisoner in a palace. Perhaps he thinks he's been chosen. Eventually, the Bronx Kid achieved gold-plated security after working hard on mixtapes. It's what we may call hell. For him, though, it might be paradise if there is air conditioning and a driver available. That is why 1950 Seconds humor has such a strong impact. Because truth is ingrained in their hearts. The cornerstones of 50's reputation were his independence, self-worth, and capacity to turn street roughness into business success. However, the French may have made survival into enslavement. You wonder, nevertheless, who's really winning? The Untouchables scandal unaffected, $7 billion insured man sipping tea inside the palace's gates, or the man obstinately maintaining his rap credibility? It is in disarray. Irony ensues, and the French are currently dealing with that issue. We view him as little more than property, even though he may feel like a king to himself. The last twist might be this. This might have been the initial intention, and French Montana might be smiling the entire time, even though 50 Cent keeps dragging him. Please make sure to click like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications if you enjoyed this analysis. Many more articles will be published soon.